Well, I guess it's getting to be that time again. Back to school. So I'm sure all of you parents have now started putting your kids to bed an hour to an hour and a half earlier than you have during summer, right? No, you probably haven't. So here's your warning. Remember, my key is always 30 minutes a week backward, and that usually gets you to where you need to be on timing, because our kids are in the habit of maybe going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I think most parents do somewhere between 7:30 and 8:30 at night. Some of our older kids 9. So please start doing that. And here's the other factor: wake them up earlier in the morning too. So whatever you back up at night needs to also be backed up in the morning. Okay, and I think we're getting close to all our sales and tax-free weekends, so we're going to be going out and buying school supplies. For a lot of our kids, it's really important that you look at that school supply list for school and make sure you start getting those items. Our kids struggle a lot, especially our sensory kids have a lot of anxiety when they don't have everything they need ahead of time. So I would start working on getting those, whether you're going to purchase the packet that the school has through PTA, or you're going to go out and buy your own supplies. Start putting those together now, and I think you can make a real fun activity out of school shopping. Maybe picking the color folder you want, or the type of paper or pens. So make it kind of an excursion and outing, and make it fun and exciting. Another point that a lot of my families like is sometimes school will have you get a variety of different notebooks and things and folders. I think it's easiest for the kids if they have one thing. So if you can get like one big notebook that houses everything, that makes it easier. Also, backpacks. Make sure you get a backpack. Take your kiddo shopping with you. They're going to need to like that backpack and going to need to know it has every pocket they need for the items they need. If you have kids that are upperclassmen that have an A-day, B-day, you might want to do 2 different backpacks for those kiddos, because it gets confusing moving things from A-day to B-day backpacks. So organization, organization, organization. This is real critical. Other thing to think about as you approach school is, for some of our kids that are on IEPs or ARDs, it's important to start looking at that IEP or ARD paperwork now, so you can make sure that things are in place ahead of time. I think it's a great idea if you can get into the classroom before school starts. You can get familiar with the area. Remember, we talked about walking the grounds and looking for your classroom. But another real important key factor is taking photos, because those photos are a good way to train prior. But also, that first or second week of school, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of information out of your kiddo about how school went, because there's so much anxiety. A lot of times when we're asking them lots of questions, it'll produce a meltdown, because they're overwhelmed as it is and they're adjusting and they don't want to answer your questions, but you're dying to know how things go. You can use those photos maybe as a topic producer, like, hey, did you sit in this area today? Do you have a friend that sits over in this part of the classroom? Those types of things. So these are just kind of a few points to think about. Remember, we don't want to overwhelm our kiddos. So plan accordingly so that this is a successful time, and make it kind of an event for the family. Just like you'd plan for a vacation, you're planning for back to school, but it's important to really start setting those things in place. Another point I want to bring up that I almost forgot about is lunchroom. Okay, lunchrooms are really overwhelming until we get adjusted to our schools. So make sure that you have comfort foods, things that are familiar, a lunchbox they like. But another key trick I heard was, a lot of our kids are overwhelmed by smells, and I've heard that a lime, if they just sniff it, will actually clear the smell out. So that might be a good nugget for you. If you can get your kid to tolerate a lime, that might really help them work through the lunchroom. And again, try it at home before you try it at school.